Baby, good morning. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday. I'm out here ice fishing with my buddy Don Terry.
How are we doing?
And we are not necessarily killing them, but we've been out here since about 8 o'clock this morning. We have seen, let's see, 3, 4, 5. There's been 6 other groups out here with us all morning, and we've moved twice. Everybody else but one guy has moved multiple times.
Yep.
So I'm assuming that means that everybody's kind of in the same boat or on the same ice and not a whole lot going on. How's the audio sound this morning, guys? Turn our volume all the way up. Sound good still? Very good. Okay, audio is good. All right, so we're out on Oneida Lake this morning. We first spot we stopped, we popped a couple holes, and I put my underwater camera down, and I saw walleyes immediately. Saw 2 or 3 of them. You could see their big white tips, like a white tip shark. And I said to Don, I go, "Oh, we found them, we're on them." Well, that didn't turn into any bites, and as soon as I finished getting everything set up and got a lure down there to them, they were gone. And so we moved another time. We're in holes that Don was fishing Saturday. Today's Monday. Don, you said you ended up that day Saturday with what?
Two nice walleyes and
Bunch of perch.
8 big perch.
So we didn't bring the shanties with us. It's beautiful out here right now. This little bit of snow just started 20 minutes ago maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. Look straight. Look. So there's the west end of the island.
Yep.
Go farther west till about 10 o'clock. Is that the temporary buoy out there I'm seeing? Is that 133?
Yeah, they do put a temporary one in there.
At first I thought there was somebody out there in mid-channel. I'm like, man.
Yeah, they put a temporary one in.
That's although when I've measured it, we're on 6 solid inches of ice. Back on our way out, there was a little bit of slush underneath the crust, but it finally cooled off last night after dark. It was in the mid to upper 30s when Courtney and I got home. No, I don't know. Yeah, when we got home Sunday evening, it was in the upper 30s. I woke up this morning, it was in the low 20s, and it's only supposed to be in the 20s for the rest of the week, and then super cold by the weekend.
Yeah.
So
hopefully that'll tighten things up for everybody.
Yeah. Exactly. So, like I say, we've been putzing around in here. I got about another half an hour. About the time we finish filming, I think I'm gonna probably head in and I got some things to get done today, but I'm fishing all week. I'm fishing every day, I think, for the next 7 days, 7 or 8 days. Certainly all this week. I finished up my bathroom job on Saturday, and I'm ready to get fishing and get some content down and get some big fish on the ice. Don actually sent me a picture last night of somebody that supposedly caught this giant walleye right here in Oneida Lake, not too far from the islands right here.
Yep.
28 1/4 inches. And that fish was the picture that Don showed me. I mean, I got to think that fish was in the 8 to 9 pound range.
You have to be.
It was girthy. It was a big old fish.
Very healthy looking fish.
No, I showed it to a buddy of mine, Terry Wicks, last night, and we both said the same thing immediately. If that means that if there's a 28 and a quarter swimming around in here, then there are 30s in this lake, and how cool would it be to?
Absolutely.
I don't know. I've never seen or heard of a 30-inch being taken out of this lake.
Yeah, I don't remember one.
I'm sure it has, and if anybody out there has a picture or a firsthand legitimate account of one, I'd love to know it. But boy, wouldn't it be cool to get a dirty 30 out here on especially on video? Oh man, that would be incredible.
26 is the best one I've got.
I had 322 and changes this year, and I'm pretty sure that those are the biggest ones I've ever remember catching myself personally. And then I set my own personal record up to the St. Lawrence this year with Don Birdie and John Burroughs for the biggest walleye I've ever personally jigged and caught. You know, I've caught bigger as a guide with clients in Oswego.
Yeah.
In the springtime over there, I've caught a lot of 30-inch class fish over there, quite honestly. But I've never caught one myself. I was always guiding somebody else. So there's some. Listen, there's no reason why there's not big fish in this lake. There's so many fish in this lake, though. It probably, by sheer volume alone, those little ones are going to get into the baits faster than the bigger ones.
That happens with perch too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess, and it's funny. So which would you rather have? Would you rather have a lake full of adult, mature walleyes like we have and a million 15+ inch walleyes, or would you rather have a 500,000 with a mix and bigger fish?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like those 16 to 18 inch walleyes to put on the plate.
Exactly, of course. Let's do a minute here, and we'll go. Let me take my glove off, and we'll do some comments quick. Eric Etrix, good morning. Rumbleseek, good morning. Eric Wisniewski, good morning. Ace Board the Angler, what's up, buddy? Rick Menzel, how you doing? Tom Alexander. Mark Webb, good morning, Mark. Scott Degata. Jim G, how's everybody doing this morning? Sage Skinner, good morning, sounds good. Slamming them yet, Kevin Hoyt? No, I'm not. Like I say, we've been out here about 2 hours. We've moved twice. We haven't seen anything to keep us really. Don had one perch, and that's been it. I haven't even marked the fish on my Vexlar. John Lutz, good morning. Scott Deronda, George Parson, Kevin Stone, good morning. Putter 58. As asking me, is there any machines out yet? No. Not that I've seen. Not that I've seen. Jim G, good to see you out fishing. You ain't kidding. I did my chicken wing exercises this morning. I got my brace on underneath everything. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. I'm ready to go out catch some fish. This thing's ready to go. Can't keep a dirty jigger down, that's for sure. We're not west of the islands, we're south of the islands, Mark. My buddy Keith Horan's finally fishing. Yeah, tell me about it. TG, good morning. Don Birdie, good morning. Randy Gushlaw, how much ice? 6 inches. I measured it this morning on my scoop there, and
that's from the other day.
Yeah, yeah.
It's frozen.
Yep. So yeah, we've been doing our thing, and it's funny. So so Don said to me, he goes, man, I've been getting them out here like crazy, and he goes, you come out with me and then nothing happens. I said, well, welcome to the guide life for one thing.
Yep.
And for two, I said, you know me. It is what it is. Fishing's fishing. We could have just as easily came out here and had these fish roaming around, you know, and active. And listen, ice fishing, the one thing about ice fishing is, you know, we can have all the electronics and all the cool stuff we want, but if that school doesn't pass right here within, I don't know, what do you think, a 15-foot radius maybe, to where they would see and feel, you know, if you're actively jigging something?
Yep, probably.
Now I wonder that, you know, unless they come pretty close, you know, you're, you know, you can move and hole hop and do that stuff, which is great. But again, we had guys when we came out here in the main channel. Wow, sorry. The south side of the island, they were in the deeper slot here. And the water's drawn all the way down. So I don't know how deep it is in here right now. Probably we're in 14 feet of water. My guess would be that about the deepest you're going to get is 16, 17, with as much as they've drawn the water down.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll
until
see.
You go further east up by the east end of Dunham's.
I assume you'd have to go a ways, because even if you went over on the flat off 133 where we are all year, you got to get down here parallel with the islands before you get 20 foot of water.
Yeah.
And now this lake's got to be down 3 feet, and they're still draining it. I mean, at my house, Courtney, my wife, this morning sent me a text and said she just saw a piece of ice go down the river that was side to side and as far back towards the Bruton Bridge as she could see.
Wow.
That's a pretty sizable chunk of ice.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever. Real quick. So I was with my friend Terry Wicks last night getting some stuff together, and him and I and a couple other people are making a trip this weekend to the Adirondacks. We're going to go film some lake trout fishing through the ice up there. And Terry, I don't know how many people out here know Terry, but Terry is really a master fabricator and welder. And he has donated one of his custom built Smitty sleds for the raffle for the ice bowl.
Ooh.
And he is also, you ought to see these things. And I mean, and it's all aluminum tube framing.
I've seen stuff he's made before.
Oh,
it's really nice.
It's amazing. And he's going to have some other ones there. He's got them. The one he's going to give away that he's donating for the raffle collapses. It comes apart with 4 pins, and it shrinks right down. So it's as long as the skis and about that big around. You could wrap, you know, simply just wrap a bungee cord around it and stick it in your truck so it doesn't take up the whole truck, and put it in your back seat. He has other sizes that he builds that he's going to have there on display for sale. He's going to have some extra ones of these collapsible Smitty sleds, and he also does custom brackets on snowmobiles and four-wheelers for anything you could imagine, but mostly for ice fishing applications. And he does amazing work. As a matter of fact, he custom fabricated his own snow dog from start to finish, and was showing it to me last night. Man,
Wow.
that thing is sweet.
Crazy.
Sweet. So that's going to be our top raffle prize. I can tell you right now. JT Outdoors has donated one of their custom ice rods. So we have some really, really nice stuff for the raffle for the ice bowl. And remember, how much does it cost to get in the ice bowl? Nothing. It's free. So make sure that you are there. The first, I think right now we're looking at the first 150 or 200 people in the door are going to get a free gift, which isn't some junky free gift. It is really cool. I've got caddy jig and In the Zone Fishing is going to donate some plastics, as well as Carl Kapfer at Mad River Sports. He's going to donate some of his ice fishing rods. So I think we have enough stuff for the first 200 people through the door are going to get their own little custom grab bag of ice fishing lures. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's like me paying you to show up. Really? I think it could be the other way. We got to figure this out. I think I'm doing this wrong. That's okay. I love it. You guys are going to have so much fun at the Ice Bowl. I spent all day yesterday working on Walleye Fest and getting some things in place there. When is the Ice Bowl? Kevin Hoyt, that's a great question, and you're right on cue. The Ice Bowl is Super Bowl weekend, and not Super Bowl Sunday. It's the day before. It is Super Bowl Sunday Eve, that Saturday night from 5 to 9 or a little later, at the Pier Restaurant in Brewerton / Central Square. It's right on it's on the west side of the Route 11 bridge. So as soon as you're going north or south, the Waterfront Tavern is on the east side of the Route 11 bridge on the North Shore, right there on the river, and the pier is on the left side. It's on the west side. So that's where we're going to be having it. Same place we did the double live event at the end of the year. My great friends at the pier and Limp Lizard Barbecue, Chuck and Nick and those guys, all winter long they've said, listen, this can be your clubhouse. Do whatever you want to do there. So we're going to have an ice fishing show. And it's going to be this show coming up. The Ice Bowl is nothing but ice fishing. It is Lakeside Outfitters will be there with a full spread of all the ice fishing gear you could want. And it looks like now, knock on wood, as my grandmother used to say, it looks like now that we're really going to kick off ice season finally. And everything's going to start to get fishable and safe. And this whole next 10-day is kind of a deep freeze. So I'm assuming everything around should be good ice. And this deep freeze is going to take us all the way to a couple days before the Ice Bowl. So we should be in full blown, even though early ice right now means the end of January, where it used to be in December. If you haven't bought, any big ticket item, if you haven't bought, this or that, come to the ice show and you can see it firsthand. There's augers, there's a couple different brands, but there's a ton to choose from of flashers and underwater cameras. There's shanties. They have a ton of shanties. They've got striker gear coming out, the eyeballs. They've got otter shanties. Of course, when it comes to lures, Nick Sokolowski from Soko Baits and Soko Guide Service will be there, and he'll have all of his ice plastics out for sale. Carl Kapfer from Mad River Sports will be there with all of his ice stuff out. Like I say, In the Zone Fishing will be there, selling their panfish plastics. Lakeside will have a full accoutrement of everything that is packed in their shop, which they've got a ton of stuff, and you don't have to wait until the Ice Bowl to go down and see the guys at Lakeside Outfitters. Super great group of people, and boy, they have a beautiful shop and a lot of nice stuff in there. So, a lot of cool stuff coming up, and they're very knowledgeable. Yep. Very knowledgeable. So, all right, I think that'll do it for today. We'll go back through and look at comments really quick. Kevin Hoyt, where are you fishing? We're just south of the islands on the west end. Just Paul, good morning to you. My buddy Keith said we should have been here yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't fish yesterday.
Story of my life.
Friday and Saturday was good.
Terry is a magician with a torch, man. You ain't kidding. When is the Ice Bowl? We talked about that. It is Saturday, February 11th from 5 to 9 p.m. How much is Courtney charging for a dozen pierogies? You couldn't afford it, Bob. The blood, sweat, and tears that goes into that, you couldn't afford it. She'd have to charge $100 a dozen. They'd be worth it though. They're delicious. No pierogies. See what you started, Bob? Tomas Grotkowski, good morning. Gary Walters. How long do you hang out before you move a bit, or you just wait them out? So that's a great question, and Don and I have had this conversation this morning. If we were fishing, well, I shouldn't say that. There is a shoal not too far from us. You could have done one of a couple things. We could have worked our way around the outside of that shoal. Now, this particular shoal is shallow, and everything around it is fairly shallow. If you were fishing structure, meaning, you know, rock piles that are mid-lake or in deeper water, you could really kind of set up a grid pattern of holes and then just keep moving around them, and then that way you're moving as opposed to waiting for the fish to move to you. Right. And also too, it depends on your time and your effort level. You know, Don and I had a couple hours to fish this morning, and we've spent more time socializing than really fishing because there wasn't much going on. We've moved twice. We've watched the other groups out here move 5 or 6 times. So if they're still moving, my guess is they're not catching where they are, yep. Which is why you would move. And so if this was an all-day trip for me, then we would have picked the general area where we were going to be. Now, again, we're in a flat. We're in a bowl like this. And so it's no different here than the other 2 spots we fished, except for maybe a little bit of depth. And it's no different here than where those guys were fishing, you know, 500 yards away from us, except for depth. And what I mean by that is these schools are just moving themselves around through these flats looking for food. During open water, when you're jigging, you're drifting. And so it's a matter of you're just increasing your odds that you're going to intersect those schools of fish. Because even those fish that you're catching open water that are drifting, you know, you could spot lock on them all you wanted out in the middle of these flats, and they may stay there for a little while, but there's nothing specific to hold them there into that spot. And so if their dinner, you know, if their buffet table swims away, they're going with it. No. And when you're drifting, you're continually and perpetually increasing your chances of intersecting those schools somewhere. Ice fishing is obviously different. You know, you're stationary and you're waiting for them to come to you. And even if you're aggressive and hole hopping like crazy, you still, once you stop, have to wait to where there's a certain radius underneath around your hole that you're going to get them to come in from, you know, or they got to come into that zone before you even have a chance with them. So,
yeah, we're not casting today.
Yeah.
No casting.
Yeah. It would be funny though. Wouldn't it be awesome to come out and drill? Not drill, but like take a chainsaw and cut a swath as far as you could cast like this, and just stand here and cast.
You could throw your sonar, your blade bait.
Yeah, I could throw I could throw blade baits, and you'd only have to cut it about 1.5 feet wide. Cast out, let it hit, and jig it all the way back. I'm a dirty jigger. What can I tell you? You know, I can't wait to get back on open water. But I'm not going to say that because this ice is going to be. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we have some incredible footage and 2 trips that I know of already. Well, no, 3 trips already that I know of in the next month that I can't wait to take you guys along with. It's going to be. And a lot of firsts for me, which will be exciting as well. So I hope that answered your question, TG. Nikolai, you're on the ice. Yes, I am, baby. Ice, baby. You're right, Nat. Yeah, Eric Wadnewski just said they swim. They do swim. You know, again, if you were fishing right on or immediately around open water structure that was holding those fish, and you could really, you know, lay out a grid of holes right off the bat and be able to just keep moving around, you know, just a jigging rod. And today it's so gorgeous outside. that you could be hole hopping today, no question. And Don and I could have set up and drilled, 30 holes and just kept moving around. We certainly could have. We didn't today. Now, tomorrow we come out here, maybe we will. We'll see. Tomorrow you could come out to the same hole and pound the snot out of them right off the bat, and they would just happen to be here. You never know.
Way it goes.
Fishing's fishing.
Pay your money. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, we're getting ready to get out of here. At least I am. But I can tell you right now, I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow morning from somewhere cold, somewhere frozen. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. So, as always, have a great day. It's Monday. Don't let that get you down. And even in really quick, those games yesterday I thought were lackluster at best. That first game, I feel bad for Niners fans that lost their quarterback in the first quarter. That game was over before it started.
That was rough.
That was a tough one. And the second game, which I really, really, really look forward to, it just wasn't a great game, honestly. I think both defenses played outstanding. And, I was all about Joe the Kid, and he had the ball at the end of the game and couldn't make anything happen. And then I felt bad for the guy from Cincinnati that pulled that penalty on Mahomes right at the end of the game. That was a dumb penalty, and it cost you the game and the Super Bowl.
Should have probably went to overtime, really.
Yeah, because without that 15 yards, I don't think that kid's kicking a field goal from the high 50s.
Yeah. Wouldn't that probably happen?
You go to overtime and you see what happens.
Yeah.
But the Bengals had their chance at the end of the game to put it away, and they didn't do it, and the Chiefs did. When championship football comes down to those moments, and I'll bet you Burrows is none too pleased. But we now know that he'll be back. And I think it's going to be a good Super Bowl. I mean, you got the two number one seeds going into the Super Bowl. They both have excellent defenses, good quarterbacks, all the skill positions. So let's hope that it's a great Super Bowl, because it certainly is making, it's setting up to be. Like I say, you've had the two best teams really all year long.
Yeah.
So now they're going to go at it. I don't even know where the Super Bowl is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
But Philly's really good. They're really good.
That Philadelphia defense, we say it's too bad for the 49ers, but that Philly defense caused that. Though their two quarterbacks didn't just fall down and hurt themselves. They were abused, and that guy number 7 from that Philadelphia line that hit Purdy and knocked him out, and was right there when the other quarterback got knocked out. He was an animal, and the 49ers could not stop him on that pass rush whatsoever. I think Brock Purdy's lucky that he didn't have a lot more damage done to that throwing arm of his, because that was the most vulnerable position he could have been in. And that kid's got a bright future ahead of him. Anybody want to take bets as to whether he'll be with the 49ers next year or not? Because my son Danny this morning said, I hope he starts next year. But they already had a starter that was doing really well before he got hurt.
Yep.
So we'll see. My money would be on Purdy being somewhere else next year. And that this was enough of an audition tape for every other struggling quarterback team in the league to go make a deal with the Niners for him. So we'll see. Anybody else chime in? No, Nat, I agree. I agree. It's not Philly's fault. It's not, because Philly caused it. And so they positively affected their outcome single-handedly. And yeah, no, I'm not, like I say, I feel bad for the Niners only because their depth chart was already at the bottom. Because Purdy was number 3, and the kid that came in was number 4, and he took a shot. His head bounced off the turf, and he was done for the game. They immediately put him into concussion protocol. I hope he's okay. He was the definition of a journeyman. I mean, everybody watched that game. They said, He'd been in the league 10 years with 13 different teams.
Yeah, for sure.
And he got his chance, and he did a couple things well, and then they turned out the lights. And so yeah, that is 100% outstanding defense and outstanding defensive play. My high school football coach, especially our defensive coach, always said, you cut the head of the snake off, the rest of the snake, is done. Number 7 for Philadelphia on the defense cut the head of the snake off early, and the Niners were done. So literally single-handedly. Yeah. All right, you guys, on that note, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great Monday. Your week can't end up good if it doesn't start out good. Remember that. So, all right. Keep your tip up, and I will see you guys tomorrow.